Okay, so now let's talk about how we could write a piecewise defined function from a given graph. Okay, so we want to figure out what could be our function for the left part of the graph and what's going to be the domain there, and what could be the function for the right part of our graph and what could be the domain in the right side. So I find it easier to talk about the domain first. And notice that we have a closed circle here, we have a closed circle here, and we have an open circle here, right? It's a little bit difficult to read this domain on the print copy that I have, right? But we'll go ahead and we'll say that we have from -1 all the way to +1, right, for the left part, right? -1 inclusive, +1 exclusive, right? And then for the next part of our graph, we go from 1 to 3, right? We go from 1 to 3. But we are exclusive of 1, so we do not have the equal sign underneath here, and we are inclusive of 3. Now we're left to figure out what we could find or write as the function for each of these two pieces that are linear line segments. Okay, and because we have a constant function here, we're going to have a constant for our function, and it happens to be equal to 2, so we say that our function is 2. Right? In this portion over here, we have a linear function that has a slope of -1. And if we were to look at what the y-intercept would be if we were to continue the function up, we could say that this is the function given by 3 minus x, or we could say it is -x plus 3. So that's the function, that's the piecewise function that represents this. Okay. Now, what about the discontinuity and the range that's involved and the domain? So the type of discontinuity that we would have here is a removable discontinuity, right? This point right here, we could remove the discontinuity by simply filling in the value at that point, but it's not there, so we call it a removable discontinuity. The domain, well, we have it from the information right up here, and we can say that we're going to go from -1 to 1, do not include the 1, and then once again, do not include the 1, and continue on to 3. All right, notice the use of parentheses and brackets. The range, well, I have everything from 0 inclusive all the way up to 2. And even though I have an open circle right over here, my function does have a value of 2 at these other inputs, and so that range is from 0 to 2. Okay, so that's getting a piecewise function from a graph.